and his journey of faith and transformation. Now listen, folks. Imagine you go on a business trip. Mo was saying he was at 53 countries, right, Joe?
Oh, yeah. 53.
And Jose goes down to Venezuela, and he's kidnapped. This is the man who knows that every day is gift. Jose, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you? How are you, Jim?
Oh, it's such a great honor to have you on again. And you're calling in from Texas?
Yes, I'm calling from Houston, yes.
From Houston. Well, I'm going to meet you out there. And I was looking at Sam Houston they named it after him, right?
Yes, correct.
And, in New York, we call it Houston, right?
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Jose, you and I have met. You were on my show before, and you had a book signing in the city. I was on to go down there and meet you there. God has blessed you, and now you are taking your experience of being kidnapped. Talk about that. Former CEO of Cisco, what happened that you were kidnapped, and then you were there for 5 years?
Yes.
About that.
You know, Jim, I was remembering today, and by the way, I posted in my Facebook. When you have time, you have to see it. Because, I was in New York September 18th last year. That means it was 1 year ago. 1 year ago, because I was invited during the UN General Assembly. Do you remember that I was invited to a panel that was called the Battling the Hostage Diplomacy? So I was one of the panelists. And during that time, we launched my book. So my book was launched 1 year ago, and I'm proud that today I'm launching my second book. So
happy anniversary, and you got a second book. What the first book was From Hero to Villain, the true story of the Citgo six people that were kidnapped, and you were the one. And what's the name of your second book?
My second book is called Unbreakable, because because these Unbreakable are tools for leaders, how they can enhance their leadership journey based of the lessons that I learned during those 5 years of captivity, based on the faith that it strengthens myself, and all the journey that I have been going through, because I've begin to see my journey through the lens of the biblical principles. And one day I said, okay, I'm going to write about this. And that became to be the second book. So my book is a reflection. It's a reflection.
Unbreakable. We're talking to Jose Pereira, former CEO of the Citgo six people that. When were you kidnapped in Venezuela? What year was that again?
Well, that was November 21, 2017, and we were released October 1st, 2022. After 5 years, by the way, I'm going to have 3 years in couple of weeks that I was released. Well, our situation, for your audience that doesn't know, I was the president and CEO of Citgo Petroleum. You know, Citgo is very well known. By the way, in New York, there are several. Everywhere there are gas stations of Citgo. Well, I was the president. But that's
on the top of Fenway Park where the bell.
Yeah. And the top of the Fenway Park is the famous sign. Correct. It's very famous in Boston. So, you know, I went to a business trip that I was invited at last minute because I was getting retired by the time, and it became to be an ambush. We became the political prisoners and the political pawns on the nightmare that was going at that moment, like it's happening today between the Trump administration and the Venezuelan regime. This is a full cycle. What is happening today that happened to us in November 2017.
Yeah, no, I mean, what a perfect timing. We're talking to Jose Pereira. He has a book out, Unbreakable, and he has a website. And he was kidnapped. He launched his last book a year ago. I've been fortunate to meet him. But I don't think anyone can fathom. Every day you must have thought your life was on the line.
Of course. 5 years. We went through the worst of the nightmares. You know, we stayed there we stayed in the two most famous political dungeons of all Latin America. That is the Boleite of the Digesim and El Helicoide. The Helicoide is the most infamous dungeon of all Latin America where
Wow.
they have all the political prisoners of Venezuela. I was there.
Well, we're talking to Jose, former CEO of Citgo, kidnapped in Venezuela, and Venezuela and Maduro. It's a horrible time. The drugs that are coming into the country, it's on edge right now. We're hoping it was one of the richest countries and great in art and music and freedom, and now they're still doing this thing. And Jose was in 2017 kidnapped. I mean, you and I spoke. The food and every second, and I always say every second is gift. And you have taken that, and now you're giving leadership conferences. You spoke at the UN, and you've written 2 books. The latest one called Unbreakable. By the way, this is a Steve Mayo show. Steve, hope you're listening. And Jose, it's just an honor to have you on again. Faith is important to you, Jose?
Sorry, say again?
Yeah, faith is important to you, right?
Of course. Faith
That's
became.
what the book is about.
The book is all about faith because for me, I survived because of my faith. And during all this journey, during these 3 years that I came back, my faith has been growing and growing and growing. And I decided I had to talk this to the world because, I not only survived, it made me be a different man. I'm sharing today. I have the blessed to be speaking in wonderful stages. I have been doing master classes, everything because of the faith. So I decided to begin to spread the word and tell the world that everything is about faith. Yes.
Well, where were you born with that great accent, Jose?
Well, I'm Venezuelan born. I was born in Venezuela, and Venezuela is a very Catholic country, Jim, as you well may know. But I was not a man of faith. My faith came back during my captivity, so that was something that God, did in us.
Brought you back. Well, it's like being in. What do they say about someone in the foxhole?
Yeah.
You were in a foxhole of. I'm talking to Jose Pereira, former CEO. He wrote a book on the Citgo 6. And, life experiences, when your life is on the line, you say, God, you shouldn't even be here. God had his hand on you. And what's the name of your book again, Jose?
The first book is From Hero to Villain, my true story of the Citgo 6. And the second book is called Unbreakable, because that's why we became unbreakable.
Listen, this is a tough time for Venezuela, the people of Venezuela. This week I had coffee at the restaurant, the Salvadorian restaurant, the woman there, and she was saying, we love being in this country, she said, but there are some people that aren't good that came in. And then you see everybody wants to be in this country, which we understand, but there's talking about the drugs and the fentanyl and the drugs that are being brought in. Is that a reality?
Of course, it's a reality. Today there are a lot of U.S. Marine battleships in the front of the Caribbean Sea in front of Venezuela, trying to stop all the drug these guys are sending here to the U.S. These have become terrible moments, darkest moments.
Horrible. I was in the seminary back in the day. Met Mother Teresa. I have 2 great sons, so that changed that. But my wife was a woman of faith, God rest her soul. But one of my favorite friends was a Venezuelan priest. He was studying with me. Teo was his first name, which is a God name. And we used to talk about the richness of the country. And God, just like El Salvador, I'm always talking about El Salvador, and El Salvador has changed. We've got to pray that Venezuela will change, that it sounds like things are coming to a head. And but you went through one of the worst experiences, and so folks, he was kidnapped for 5 years in one of the worst regimes under Maduro, right?
Yes.
And so you were in a meeting, or they came in? Did they tie you up? Did they cover your eyes? Did they?
They did everything. They tied us. They cover our eyes. They put us in this dungeon. We begin to starve. We begin to get in because we were 6 guys and we were separated. And in the first year, we were in solitary confinement with the lights 24/7, starving, no food, no running water. Was living in a hell, literally.
Wow. Well, if you just joined us, this is this, and I'm honored to have one of my friends. And he just wrote it a year ago. He came out with his first book, From Hero to Villain: The True Story of the Citgo Six. And in Houston, you're well known in those circles, and you're getting more well known. Can you stay through the break for 1 minute, Jose?
Okay, yeah.
Jim Killoran here, co-host Joe Killoran's here.
Hey, how you doing?
What do you think about Jose? Imagine we walk out and you have people waiting there, and we're thrown into, was it a car or a van or
No, it was an armor truck. An armored
truck.
Yes.
Right? So we take so much for granted, right, Joe?
Oh yeah, I can only imagine what you guys went through and all that experience, because I don't know if I would make it mentally.
Yeah, that you even survived.
Oh yeah.
We're talking to Jose Pereira, just came out with a book called Unbreakable, about his faith, about leading and overcoming adversity and leading with purpose in times of crisis. And this experience certainly brought you back to faith, right, Jose?
Oh, yeah. You know, Jim, when the people said that sometimes they believe that they cannot make it, I'm going to say here why I decided to call the book Unbreakable. Because everybody has inside that unbreakable spirit. But when you have faith, and you reconnect with God, and you have a purpose, you will find your path. You will become unbreakable. So that's why for me it's so important, that word, unbreakable.
I love you. What do you think, Bob? Amazing, huh?
Absolutely.
But I mean, our producer is. We're all amazed at what you, and so please get this. It's launching. How do we get this book?
You go to Amazon. There are two ways. In my webpage that is called joseconnect.com, www.joseconnect.com. You go, there is a special page dedicated to my book. You can buy it there, or you can go to Amazon. And I have a promotion, a launching promotion, that my Kindle version, I leave in 5 days downloadable free. Because I want the people really to begin to read it and begin to, comment it, make me reviews, because I want the people that really understand that this is, for me, my soul that was poured to help people in their leadership journey. So anybody that is in a leadership journey, this is going to be a wonderful book to read.
And you've spoken at the UN, you've spoken at forums all over the country about your experience. And you can download the book at Kindle, is it? Kindle?
Yes, in the Kindle, yes.
Kindle for free for the next 5 days. Get it, Amazon. He wrote the first one, From Hero to Villain: The True Story of the Citgo Six. Kidnapped for 5. Now, you and I have spoken, and people kind of forgot about you down there. You said your wife and your family kept pushing to get you out, right?
The first year we were literally abandoned because, the relation between the two governments was so bad that they recalled the two ambassadors, so there was no direct relationship. And the first impression that the government gave to the Six family was to try to keep it quiet because, they were trying to have the soft negotiation. The first year we were literally abandoned. When our family decided to begin to speak was 1 year after they began to speak very loudly, and that's where all the press began to know about our story.
Could you communicate with your family while you were in prison at all?
After 10 months, my wife took the risk to visit me because, there was no communication. And one of the things that was a risky move that the government did, that they allowed her to go in a secure environment. She visited me and she stayed like 3 hours talking with me, and she came with a message that the government was fighting to get us back, and she brought a message that the Venezuelan regime wanted to pass to the U.S. So she began to be like the vessel of the communication. It was after almost 1 year.
Well, listen, Jose, I can't thank you enough for calling. God bless your wife. Love to have you. Are you coming in the New York area at all?
I'm gonna
come to Houston and see you.
I'm gonna have a meeting maybe in December. I believe I'm gonna go in New York. Yes.
Okay. Well, he just wrote his second book, CEO of Citgo, retired only in he's alive because he wrote Unbreakable about his faith and his journey. He was kidnapped for 5 years. That you survived with your other 5 people is a miracle, and he just came out. So go to JoseConnect.com and search out his book. And I hope I'll have you on again. And I'm going to give you a call about how we get together. Is that okay?
That's okay, my friend. Thank you for having me, Jim.
And we've got to pray for Venezuela for the change of that country.
It's gonna change. It's gonna happen. You have people. The Venezuela have to have faith that it's gonna change.
Excellent. Well, you bring hope to all of us, because if someone can go in prison for 5 years and say, my faith saved me, and I'm going to tell the world about it. Joe and Bob, amazing, right?
Absolutely. Well, of course.
Well, bendiciones. Thank you for calling in, and I'll give you a shout later. And going to have you on, and grateful for you being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Bye-bye.